internet brings comic fans around the world into one comic book community. Comic creators and comic fans, tonight you are seen, heard, recognized, because comics are for everyone. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, live from Miami, Florida, broadcasting around the world. This is the Not Near Mint Show. Welcome to the Not Near Mint Show, everybody. Today is Saturday, 8 p.m. at our brand new time here on Saturday. So it's the eastern side of the country, so it's probably about 5 o'clock over on the West Coast. So it's kind of cool that we have Kirk Comics on the Mind here today. But we do have a very special guest. His name is, oh yes, Russell Nohelty. His book is ICHABOD Jones, Monster Hunter. Why don't we bring in the entire cast of everybody? Hello, Russ.
What up? What's going on, everybody?
I have to ask, was that Pat Shand in a banana costume in your intro? Is
that might have been?
That's great.
We wind up putting in as many people as we can into the comic community, some of our previous guests, throw them into the intro because we have a lot of people that wind up broadcasting in the YouTube community, and we want to showcase that this is for everybody. We're not trying to disclude anybody because comics is for everyone.
And we appreciate everybody, too. Don't forget that.
If you're watching live here, we thank you for tuning in, especially given the fact that we have the creator, the writer, and he's been working on this, or at least the book has been in publication since 2015. You've been working on this for more than 12 years. How did ICHABOD Jones come into creation?
I went down to Comic-Con in 2010. Like, this is going to sound very familiar to a lot of comic book creators, but like I had the book that was going to change everything. Like, I was going to get my deal with Marvel, and like I had an 8-page ashcan. I took it around and was roundly rejected, as happens in comics, and you kind of go two paths there. Like, you're either like, well, I guess I'm not doing comics anymore, or like, screw you, like I'm going to show you and do whatever comics I want now. And like I went kind of the second way, and I tried to find like the most unlikely hero, because my thing was, if I'm going to get rejected from comics, I'm really going to get rejected from comics. Like, I'm going to get rejected from comics from doing something that is like unpublishable, which is really interesting because like it led to my first publishing deal, like ICHABOD Jones, in 2011, because we started in 2010, signed our first deal in 2011, and then finished production in 2012. The book started coming out, I think, beginning of 2012. And then we pulled the rights back and launched it ourselves in 2014, and fished them into production and into publication in 2015. So it's been quite a long journey there, but that's sort of the very shortness of it.
Great origin story.
And strangely enough, I'm bringing up the Kickstarter because I wanted to bring this up into a share screen, but for some reason it's all in Japanese.
You go to the bottom, you can flip it to like the right thing. I don't know why it does that. It does it for me sometimes in French, sometimes in Japanese. And like I've been to Japan at least, but like years before I would have ever used Kickstarter. So I don't quite know what's happening. But
interesting.
Yeah. So it's a really odd thing. I'm not quite sure why. A lot of people tell me that too.
Well, I'm bringing it up right now. This is the Kickstarter campaign. Sorry if it's in Japanese, y'all, but this will give you a little idea on what to expect. So here we have the top of the oh, hey, there's a great picture. All right, trying to get all the way to the top. There's some of it that's in not Japanese. So for our Japanese people that are at home watching this, at least you'll know what to see. Is it okay to start sharing the video?
Sounds great.
All right, we're going to go ahead and cue this up here. So y'all enjoy this at home. And hopefully...
Hi, I'm USA Today bestselling author Russell Nohelty, author of all these books. But I'm here today to tell you about the conclusion of my legendary indie comic series, ICHABOD Jones, Monster Hunter. Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter follows a mental patient that escapes from an asylum and becomes a monster hunter during the apocalypse. But he doesn't know if he's killing monsters, humans, or it's all in his head the whole time. It's a complete psychological mind screw in the vein of H.P. Lovecraft's Dreamlands mixed with Christian mythology. If you love Event Horizon, In the Mouth of Madness, Jacob's Ladder, or anything that screws with your mind, you're going to love Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. We've released 3 volumes so far, and we're here to complete the series with the 4th and final volume of Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. Argentinian artist Renzo Podesta drew every issue of Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter, from sketches to final lettering, and he really outdid himself in this 4th and final volume. As you can see, the entire series is here in my hand and will be ready to deliver soon after the campaign ends. The entire series is title locked and meant to feel like one complete story, from the spines to the front covers and everything in between. My career started with Ichabod Jones on Kickstarter, and it's only right for me to return to the platform to share with you the final installment and end this series the way that it began. I can't wait to share it with you. Can't wait for you to experience the end of this legendary comic run. And I hope to see you behind the backer wall.
Awesome. And looking at it right here, you've gone well past the amount that should be to raise. I wish I could read Japanese right now.
Well, I can't read Japanese, but I do know all about this series. So yeah, it's really gratifying to see something that's been so weird really like be embraced by the comics community and like be able to live so much longer than I thought it ever would. In fact, Ichabod was going out of print in 2019, and the fans of the series are they're not got a huge fan base, but the fan base is mighty, and they like literally harassed me for months, telling me that I couldn't let it go out of print because it would never go back in print, and I needed to finish the story. And I was like, I did finish it. It was one book. That's why you bought it. A lot of you bought it from that reason. But I said, you know what? If you've been if you guys put your money where your mouth is, I will finish. I will do 3 more volumes. Like, I'm going to put this on Kickstarter for, if you give me, I think it was $15,666, so I could reprint volume 1 and do issue 5. I will do like 3 more volumes basically of the book. And sure enough, I never thought like $16,000 basically for one issue of comic is like a ludicrous amount for me to expect for a comic, especially a comic with such a small fan base as Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. But like people really love this book. I've always said like people either love it, like it's their favorite book, or like they want nothing to do with it. And like they know in that first page, because it is brutal, it is funny, it is like spooky, it is and it's a complete mind screw, because the hook is that you never know if he's in the apocalypse, if he's it's all in his head, or if he's in real life and thinking that they're monsters and killing them. And like throughout the whole 4 volumes, I really like twist your perception of what the truth is, which makes it a very hard book to write, because you have to keep that going while you're keeping the story entertaining and like the action high and the comedy there. So it's a lot to play with. But like, I think we ended it exactly how I wanted to end it. Like, it's always been the ending that I thought it would have. So like, whether people love the ending or they hate the ending or somewhere in between, like very rarely does a creative team get a chance to fulfill their vision in the way that they wanted to. And this is really how I always wanted to end this series. I thought it would be 7 volumes, but what's really interesting about Ichabod is it has enough story for 2 volumes. So volume 2 and 3, my outline for volume 2 and 3 became volume 2. My outline for 4 and 5 became volume 3. My outline before 6 and 7 became volume 4. And so literally I've been cramming so much story into like these and into each story, into each volume. And it's really like paced on the edge of your seat. Yeah, I have written a lot of books, as you saw in the video, and like there's no fandom like Ichabod's fandom in anything that I've written before.
Well, I'll say this, like, you definitely got another fan here, because it's just like you said, like that first page, as soon as I read it, like I was like, I'm hooked. Like, is this dude crazy? Is he like killing monsters, or is this a person that he's like just seeing as a monster? Like, you know, with that one scene with his roommate where it's, woof, it was so good. Diving
Thank
into
you so
it.
much.
That's what I wanted to bring up, the mental illness aspect of the character. Much like some of the great noir movies and cinema that we've seen in the past, or even some comics, character just wakes up in a world that the audience is just going to get to know because there's no backstory, no prologue. You're just dropped right into the middle of the action. And first issue starts out with this poor kid in a mental institution, and he's hearing voices. And much like The Walking Dead, but a little bit scarier because these damn things are fast and huge, and he doesn't know if they're just another human being or his mind playing games.
Yeah.
We wind
This
up
happened
running,
before.
yes, we run a scroll at the bottom of every episode here. For anybody at home that's experiencing whether it's addiction, mental illness, you're never alone. All of us, we're comic fans. We're not the most normal people. That's why we're not near mint here. So if you need help, there's places down here at the bottom that you can always look. But how did you wind up tapping into this aspect for the character?
Well, I love Ikigai. I think that's the portal fantasy for Japanese portal fantasy. But I wanted to tell, so like that was my like, and I love when they just like hop into the story. Like, there's one that
Dark City.
Yeah, it's that, or like I want to call it Second Life. It's not Second Life, but there's like a one that's on HBO Max that is like really good about that. But the mental aspect part was really important to me because I'd read a lot of serial killer stories and like mental health stories, and they always end up feeling like the bad guy or like the guy who like gleefully does the thing that they're doing. And like I've lived with depression and anxiety for most of my life. Like I know a lot of people who deal with mental illness, especially in the creator community, and I wanted to do something that like the idea was he is a hero, not despite the things that are broken about him or people think are broken about him, but specifically because of them. Like he's in this world and he's able to take all of the things that society has said are like bad about the person that he is. And they're the exact things, his experience with Viscera, his ability to keep his head in like really stressful situations, his ability, his like not violent tendencies, but like his ability to like move and think like a I don't want to say predator either because that's not accurate, but like
you can take directions from the voice in his head.
Yeah, but all of those things like make him a hero. Like he is that's why he is the ideal person in this world. And I'm pretty obsessed with this idea that like you become a hero in your own story when you embrace the things that people say are wrong with you and you use them and they become like the weapons that you have to face the world. And whether it's Ichabod or other characters in other stories, like this idea that like you are uniquely qualified to write the stories or tell the stories or exist in the world, and you are important. Like your worth is maybe not as a human. I don't want to say that either. I feel like I'm stumbling all over my words tonight. But like
it's all good.
We do it every day.
But like your value, like your unique value, like what you have to offer the world, aside from like you have worth just by existing. Like you don't ever have to prove your worth, but like those things that like people say are like weird about you are probably the things that like make you the hero of your own story. And that's absolutely true with Ichabod, obviously in like a very, very extreme example. But yeah, I think that people resonated with Ichabod specifically for some of the reasons why it's not a super popular book. One, it's not a attractive woman with big breasts who is like confidently able to like go through the world. And like, he's not particularly adept at things. Like he's not aspirational. All of his wins are hard fought and short lived and like very ugly. But like in that way, that's how I felt when I wrote this. I was at a very bad, dark place. Like I just spent the last of my money and our like my wife and my money to make this comic that like was roundly rejected. Like it was my last shot, and so I was feeling like I was like lost and alone, and like there was nowhere for me to where there's nowhere for me to like find purchase, like that I had been like cast away in a similar way to Ichabod. So I was able to like put a lot of that bitterness into the character and a lot of that like how I felt. And I feel like a lot of people feel disaffected, especially people who love comics. Maybe not recently, but like historically, comics were not a thing that like popular people who like had a lot of like
you got the shit beat out of you. If
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
were-
A
all
lot
of
of
that.
people. It's like
If
a lot
we're
of
over
bullies.
30, it happened to all of us here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like what was really interesting is when I came back to do volume 2 and 3 and 4, I was in a very different place. So between 2010 and 2019, I became successful. Like I became a mainstay of the indie comics community. Like I was welcomed at conventions, and I was like, and when I went back to Ichabod, one of the reasons I didn't go back for so long was because it was such a bleak book in that in those early years. And what I think is really unique about this book is almost the second, third, and fourth volume are like me throwing a lifeline to like my 26, 27-year-old self, being like, I can tell you, like, this hopeless feeling that you have, like, it will get better. And maybe it will get better for you, and hopefully it will get better for everyone. But like, you've got to, like, you can't see it now. Like you see like that there's no hope in the world, but like, I'm telling you, like, there is hope if you just like, thank God you didn't any of the times you wanted to kill yourself, like actually go through with it, because there's a life on the other side of this that is like so fulfilling and so wonderful. And all you had to do was like keep fighting on, and again use those skills that you developed that like made you feel alone, and use them to like show other people they're not alone. And I think that's like one of my superpowers, is like I can I because of how I the mental health issues in my own life, like I can be either a shining example or a brutal warning. And like either one, like I've always been okay with either one. Like either I'm a horrible warning or a shining beacon, and like, but I'm going to be transparent about it and show like either don't go this path, or like here's what you can get on this path. And it served me well, but that was also the thing that like put me in a dark hole in my 20s as well. So again, that like dichotomy of the things that like you feel broken about you are probably the things that like make you a hero.
That's interesting. I like that interpretation for sure.
So to harken back to another Gothic piece of literature, if you say, The Crow also turned into a movie. There was a
I love
statement
the
in it
movie.
that I've always loved. Can't rain all the time.
Yeah.
And much like, I'm trying to remember his name. He had John Oliver. When you look like a bird, you lean into it. My last name is Worst. I created a show called Not Near Mint. I don't want to create any comic books because I just don't feel like doing creative stuff anymore. But two things that I can harken back to showing that things aren't dark all the time. I am an alcoholic myself. 3 years sober. I was once freaking homeless. I once had to sell comics to try and stay in an apartment that just didn't work until I put it all into storage and wound up living in my car for a good period of a year. I came back from that. To a lesser extent, earlier this year, you had Kirk where somebody stole his goddamn bike, a bicycle used for his job. Since then, the comic community all helped chip in, got him a new bike. Now he's working for a new place, and things aren't going to always be dark. But to start out from the first issue and just showing that hero's journey, where things can be grim and bleak, and I love the color work in the backgrounds.
Yeah, shout out to the artists.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Renzo does this. So there were two things that really I think are the reason why Ichabod works. The first is that we start him in an asylum where like he already Like, and he already has gone through this path where like he thought he was killing monsters and they ended up being people. So like this has already happened before. So like there's that element that like really make that mind screwery work. But the second happened on I think it's the second page. It's this panel where you see like the warpedness of the thing, and you're like, oh, so this is not like, this might not be like all reality. And Renzo's art style, I think I wanted it to feel like you're looking through Ichabod's head and everything was a little warped. But like, it also had to feel real. Like, it also had to feel like it really happened. And Renzo walks this line, and I still don't know how he does it, between like surrealism and like making everything feel like it's really happening. And I think those are the two elements that really make it work. And I was just telling someone the other day, like, I think there's maybe 10 artists in the world who could like draw Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. Not that it's like the absolute pinnacle of art, just like this art style is so unique. And it needed Renzo, just like it needed that one piece.
It merged so well with your story, though, like an orchestra playing like on point.
And Russ, if you have that book or the series of books, black, they're hardcover now, showing.
Look at those covers.
The thing that we've had some problems with in the comic community lately is the fact that there's a lot of just not great looking production. Like, some of the Marvel books look like they were printed on toilet paper. And just real quick, hold that up again to show the audience what they'd be getting from this if they go ahead and order this. And personally, I'm sorry, we don't have Ace watching, but warning, banger alert.
Warning, 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 warning. Banger alert, banger alert. Holy fucking shit. Look at that fucking book. Oh my fucking God. Look at that fucking book. Oh my fucking God. Look at that book. Jesus, Jesus. Oh my God.
I like turtles.
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm sure you guys know all of this, but like, I'll tell you a couple of reasons why Ichabod is even better than what it looks on here. First, you can't really see it, but like, you can see, like, there's we spot gloss all three sides.
What?
So like, you see the spot gloss in all of the we also do the same black covers inside and outside, so they all look the same inside and outside with ribbons. But most importantly, so hardcovers, it's very easy to trick somebody with a hardcover and make it look like it's actually printed better than it is. Most hardcovers are glue bound in at the seam, because it's way cheaper. But glue bound means that when you try and lay it flat, it does not work. It does not like that, and it breaks just as easy as any other paperback. So it actually doesn't give that protection. Ours are all sew bound in. We also use an 85-pound art gloss paper, so you can see, like, look, you can't actually see through the page, which like you can with so many comic books. So or as even big 2 books. So so we do use a thick paper stock, and every single one of these books is the same length. It's with the same cards. It's with the same stock. It's with the same cover. It was printed by the same company in the same warehouse. And so not only is it all title locked and so it feels like one story, we literally use same artist for the whole series and use the same printer for the whole series as well, who use the same cardstock. And there are things down black that you need to do, like using an anti-scuff thing, which we didn't actually know when we printed the first one. Our printer told us, like, we actually needed, if we wanted it to not be scuffed, because it's so like stark, you need an extra specific coating. And so they saved us a whole lot of stuff in there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of thought that doesn't just go into let's make it hardcover and make it look pretty, but like to make all of the little finishing touches work as well.
Yeah, at this point, if I wound up having that book, I'd be afraid of my cats, like the one that's down here meowing, which I have to mute every time that happens. I'm going to be putting that in Mylar.
Yeah, I definitely want that series like now.
There's also only this only had a 2,000 print run. These two only had 1,000 print runs, and this one only has a 750 print run. So like, once they're gone, like, we're not printing them. Like, this is the last time that that Wannabe Press will be printing these books.
And
once
we can
they're
get
gone.
these. And we can get these on your website.
We can get this all through the Kickstarter. It's the only
Okay,
place
nice.
they're all available
Gotcha.
now.
Okay.
Also, what's cool about the Kickstarter is if you get the hardcover, you also get the ebook, but you also get an audio commentary of me talking through each story. What happens is I literally open the book and I record just me telling stories about us production of every not every page, but like every time there was like a relevant page, I would say like, okay, turn to the next page and here's a story about like this page or something like that. So you get that as well on top of everything else. And I believe tonight is the last day you get a special print of the monster. So page 3, which is this page right here. We're printing a special 5x7 print for just people who back the physical this week, and then next week, which you'll qualify for if you back today. I think it may be tomorrow you can back by, but we're doing a print of this one. And I don't generally do prints, but because this is the end, I'm going all out. So you get a print of this as well, and everything else we unlock. And I think we have this week we unlocked 12 ebooks, 12 ebooks that everyone's going to get if they back this week, which are James Flamestar, This Land, Tap Dance Killer #1, The Playground #1, Man of Sin #1, Six Swords #1, Last Ember #1, Will-O-Wisp #1, Robin by Simon Burks, The Pits, Lump Sum Saga, and Wild Warriors #1. But what's cool about backing our campaigns is the minute that you lock it in, you also, everything else that we unlock, you unlock all of that stuff too. So next week, we are unlocking a whole new slew of 12 books, including Blood of the Gods #1, Blood in Concrete, Children of Gaia, there's a couple I can't read, Epic #1, Gods of Azure #1, Gorilla My Dreams #1, Healed #1, Hollow #1, Kinetic #1, Killer Scars, and a couple of others that I just couldn't see the covers of. And every week we unlock somewhere between 6 and 10 new books and new perks, and you get all of those on top of so the earlier you back, the better. And with Kickstarter, you don't get charged until the end. So whether you back today or you back in 3 weeks, the only difference is that you get more goodies if you back today.
Awesome.
Goodies.
So on top of all this, where have you gotten your inspirations from as a comic book fan? What do you remember reading growing up?
So I remember, when I loved, this is going to be so weird. You guys are probably going to like make them, but like, I loved The Return of Superman. Like that was my favorite thing. I remember Death of Superman being the first thing that like the first formative memory.
That's on FOC this week, 10-year, or what is it, 30-year anniversary.
30-year anniversary. But I remember the white variant when he came back, when he came back, and how he didn't come back. There were like 5 Supermen, and you had to decide. And,
I loved it.
It was like Steel and Superboy and the Krypton, the Kryptonian with the glasses.
Eradicator.
Oh yeah, Eradicator. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that, and like there were bad guys who were, and like Superboy, and there was like another one, and but like
Cyborg,
and I remember
Cyborg Superman.
Yeah. Oh, that was and I just remember like that was such a mind trip, and like I had to get all of it. Like I had to read the whole thing. It was the first time that I read like 5 different things every single week, and I was like, what is even happening here? Like, are any of these ones Superman? And then you had like the black like Superman like
costume
thing with the costume with the silver thing when he came back, and I was like,
oh
my
I'm
god
back.
I still remember, sorry, this is 30 years old, so I'm gonna spoil. I still remember when like Superman punched Eradicator so hard that he just liquefied, like and I was like, this is the coolest thing that has ever happened in like comics. And clearly I made a book about Mind Screw, so like that's what I remember distinctly about like that stuff. I mean, I liked X-Men and all of the other things that but my mind was blown by like that, just how they gleefully seemed to screw with their audience and like get away with it, and that people loved it.
Well, do you remember this? This was back during a period of time in DC Comics when a lot of things were changing. It wasn't the bald Lex Luthor that we were used to. It was Luthor with hair, which was, I guess, his father from another universe. Supergirl wasn't the normal Kryptonian Supergirl because editorial mandated that John Byrne make it that she is a blob-like creature. We're just going to call the Matrix. So when Doomsday punches this poor girl, she turns into just a splattered blob.
Yep.
When I read this first as a child, because I was only like, it came out, what, 1990, 91? I was 10 years old. What the hell is going on? I had to jump to other books to try and figure out what it was all about. Bloodwind, who is this new character? Oh my God, he's dead. Oh, it's Martian Manhunter. Things were going on outside of all the Superman stuff to make you go, I don't know what's going on there. I don't care. Or you were just intrigued enough to pick it up.
Yeah.
And
now that
could help.
Now that ended up being a thing that the comics people that comics leaned into way too much. Like, but at that moment it was like a mind, like I couldn't even fathom like what was going on. For like a year they drew this thing out until like, and then they drew like another 6 months or 8 months or 10 months of like them winnowing down, because Superman came back and they're like, that's not the real Superman. Everyone was like trying to like compete still when they were. And then like Steele went off into his own book, and like he was the first one to be like, all right, like, yeah, I'm not Superman. Like, I'm just going to go do my own thing now. And it became a part of the universe. Then Superboy, like, it was such a cool thing that like, but again, too much of it was cool for like a year. 30 years of that is exhausting, but like
the
a
clone
couple years
saga
of
and
it,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. And like that was another really like when the Scarlet Spider thing where you're like, no, you're the clone. You're like, what? Like there are all these moments that I remember distinctly, and they were all the ones that like screwed with people's minds. Clearly, like there's a theme here that's like,
and the greatest things about comics, at least to me, when people wind up complaining about some new writer jumping on board or some direction, it can always be walked back. Let the person be as creative as they want to, and if there's elements that don't work, just pretend it didn't happen. They did that in Spider-Man recently when you had these, oh God, we still can't believe this happened, but when J. Michael Straczynski wound up writing a segment where Gwen Stacy, way back in the day, she left because things were going iffy with Peter, and she had an affair with Norman Osborn and pumped out 2 kids, and they were clones, and they explained that all the way in the most recent run that not a lot of people loved, where no, that was all just some machinations of Mephisto and Norman Osborn selling his son's soul to the devil. They explained things away. Some of that worked, a lot of it didn't, so you can always walk things back and then
so
use
I wish that they did more. So I'm going to go against what I just said, and like what I wish there was more of, and what I respect DC doing is doing all sorts of like really well done graphic novels where you don't have to go back to continuity. Like I remember I wanted to read Battle for Burnside, the Batgirl New 52, and for years, and I was like, I finally got a copy of it, and I finally sat down to read it, and I was like, I can't understand anything that's happening in here. Like every page, every third panel is an editor's note to another book that I had to do, and I was like, and I love Batgirl. So like when my friend Nicole drew Shadow of the Batgirl, and like I love Nicole's style, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. And I was really pleased that I didn't have to go back and remember, like, not even the story of Batgirl, but just like how, like, there was a character that, like, at the very beginning, I couldn't even, I was like, wait, how did these two get together? And I was like, oh, I have to go read 10 issues of comics. No, thank you. I'm not going to go do. And by the end of reading that Battle for Burnside, I was like, my homework is 100 issues of comics if I want to understand this thing. So I do appreciate that they're trying to, and all of those like YA, like all of that line of comics, the Mira one, the Wonder Woman one, all of those ones, like I love them because I read mostly indie comics. So when I want to read a Batman story, like I just want to read that Batman story. And that is something that I think that was lost at the same time that my mind was blown. Like we lost the ability to just pick up an issue of comics and like enjoy that issue of comics for what it was.
It's like saying, welcome back to the 90s. But if you want to read and understand what's going on, you're going to have to pick up every single volume of every single book that's coming out monthly in order to understand just one issue. One issue.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, because my friend Marv wrote, created the Teen Titans and did the Infinity Gauntlet. He wrote Infinity, and like you could read that whole thing without understanding anything else. You like there was things that happened in other books, but like you could read that straight through, and like 95% of it would have like made sense to you if you never stepped foot in any other part of 80s comic continuity. And like I really respected how like that was a huge like overarching thing, but like it didn't require a PhD in DC Comics universe to like understand either.
Yeah, this is why back in the 90s it was great to, instead of go, well, I've kind of grown out of the superheroes, because the 90s was all about being extreme and hitting that middle-aged, not middle-aged man, but the middle-aged teenager. So you jumped on over to Vertigo, and this is when we saw, wait a second, comics can really be not just art, but a form of literature. When you're seeing Watchmen, they didn't have to use a single character from another universe, although it was an entirely separate universe that they intertwined and then changed all the characters around. Thanks, Alan Moore. Or Sandman, which we've all been loving, but at this very start, which you're not going to see in the new Netflix series, they had Martian Manhunter, they had John Constantine, they even had Batman at one moment, and even Swamp Thing.
Animal
all
Man
that was
too.
taken out. Swamp Thing, when Alan Moore took that over, he might have used a couple characters here and there, like Demon from Jack Kirby, but otherwise it was self-contained. And
well, if you remember the second issue, if you're listening to this and don't know what's and not read Sandman, that second, I think it was the second or third
Doll's House
issue where they or episode where Joanna Constantine is there, that was actually John Constantine. Yep. Like I think issue 4 was a Martian Manhunter was part of it. So like yeah, they would bring in all these cameos.
Yeah, Dr. Destiny. They remarked when that woman who winds up getting shot in the face in the comic, but totally lives in the series, and they showed depth and traded the shock value for a more emotional tone. And to me, I think it did better than the comic did in certain elements.
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely grew out of in the 90s comics, and it came back to it when I moved to LA in 2008, and in 2010, my manager like handed me just a stack of independent comics, like that were coming out then. Like they had the license for Halloween, like they had produced Halloween and a bunch of other stuff. And he just handed me a stack of like, I don't know, this big of like comics I'd never heard of. And I was like, whoa, like these are all really good. And he's like, yeah, you could make these. I was like, no, I'm not in Marvel or DC. He's like, no, you could just like make these. Like, you know, they don't cost what a movie costs. And like, it like blew my mind. And like just the depth of what like independent comics became. And this was almost 15 years ago at this point. And it's just ballooned up into like such like this incredibly diverse group of creators and fans and books, and like the stuff that the stuff that seeds all the way back to like Sandman and Watchmen and Men Without Fear. Like now is like you can find that on any. That's why I don't read a lot of Marvel and DC, because I'm like I could read like what if Superman, or what if this character like was like this, and like, oh, there's an indie comic about that. Like I don't have to go and read 30 years of continuity and then think. I could just like go and read my friend's book. Like what if this was with African mythology? I'm like, oh yeah, like I could tell you 5 books that you could just go read instead of like wondering what if. You could just read like literally that right now, and it's really well done. So
see, this is the reason why I created this show. I don't have people in regular life that I can talk to about comics that have come out, because I deal with lawyers most of the time, and they go, why do you care about that kid shit? It's like, because some of it costs money. But that leads me to another question. Do you pick up comic books regularly, or do you collect anything?
I pick up a ton of independent comics. It's been I have so many. I just got LASIK, so it's hard for me to see over my thing. But yeah, all of my favorite comics are independent comics. So we talked about Pat Shand earlier. So like I'm obsessed with his Destiny New York comic run. I have every spinoff and every spinoff of that. My favorite comic is and it's still every year. It's for like 10 years. It's been my favorite comic. It's called Serenity Rose. It's Aaron Alexievich's book that he did. It's called. He has an omnibus called 10 Awkward Years, which should probably kill somebody. It's so thick, and it's incredible. The comic that brought me back into comics was Why the Last Man. So I collected all of those.
Oh, I need to read that still.
Preacher. Transmetropolitan, although I don't like Transmetropolitan, but I love Transmetropolitan at the same time.
Transmetropolitan, I'm reading that right now. It's
Transmet was one of my favorites. It's unfortunate about the creator. I still love the book. It's just one of those because of what happened in the background. It's not something I'm going to be revisiting anytime.
Yeah, I had the same problem with Fables. Like it's but like Chew
or Cerebus.
Yeah. Chew is another one that I was obsessed with Chew for a long time. John
don't
Layman's
tell me
book.
There's something behind.
No. I'm just saying good things. Like John Layman's, like Chew. Like I collected forever. Hench
It
Girl.
stuck the landing.
Yeah, like it's so like kind of weird for a long time, and then it just goes so weird, like almost. When the skywriting comes and like it just hits another level and it just keeps going so hard. So yeah, I love Chew so much. I could keep going. My friend Walter Osley.
Do you have anything on you that you picked up in the last week or so?
Let's see.
Because if that's so, we could start some comic therapy, show some books that we picked up, and talk about it if you want, or just go, I got this, that. I wound up shooting a video as part of our bonus content that we'll show at the very, very tail end of the show.
I'll be honest, I do mostly digital for comics now because I have a finite amount of stuff. But let's see what I picked up recently. Okay, so I just got a book called Black Boy, Black Boy. Trying to open it right now. That's more like a kid's picture book, but it was really good. Got to open these things before I know what I actually have. I just this was 2 weeks ago, but Geezer, Shelley Bond's new book that her publishing company put out.
Former editor of Vertigo.
Yeah, and I picked up her book that just ended on Kickstarter, which was her tell-all about her days at Vertigo. Let's see. Super Best Friend. That's Jason Inman's book. I also write novels, so I'm like trying to figure out which ones of these are novels and which ones do I know are comics. So yeah, Super Best Friend, Jason Inman, and my computer is old, so it can only do so many things at one time. I'm like, please open this thing. Let's see, what else do I have in here that I got recently? I picked up Spread #1, Justin Jordan's amazingly bloody book, Snow White Zombie Apocalypse, Brenton Langle's very, very, very violent book, Going to the Chapel and Spencer and Locke from David Pepos.
Oh, nice. I love that.
We love his work, and he's doing great stuff on Savage Avengers.
Absolutely. The OZ also is just incredible.
Still got to get that.
It's real good. I have actually a whole bunch of stuff because I backed his Kickstarter. Also his Roxy Rewind story. Let's see. Have a bunch of my own stuff from Cthulhu is Hard to Spell. Oh, Gilgamesh. It's a retelling of Gilgamesh. Really cool. This goes back a couple of months now, though. So like those are the ones that I have like immediate access to, along with just all of the ones on my shelf, which is actually maybe I do. Give me a second. I think I'm just got a couple of in there. Yeah.
And while you grab that, how about you, Kirk? Do you have any books that you want to maybe show the audience?
Oh, I picked up some books today. Did you want to play the opening, or did you?
Yeah, let's play the opening.
So, what exactly is the problem? Tell Dr. Worst.
It's Swole Black Cat. I see her in my dreams.
It is okay. Swole Black Cat cannot hurt you.
But what if I want her to hurt me?
What?
What? I've really got to change that to not say Wednesday at 10 o'clock anymore.
It's all good. But it still makes me laugh.
All right. So Russ is back with some books now.
All right. So I don't know if you guys pick up Magnetic Press books, but Magnetic Press books are always like, some of my favorite. Like this is Small World. My favorite one they put out was called. What's it called? It was like a book about dodgeball, but it was like futuristic dodgeball, and it like should not have been so cool, but it was just so cool. And then I'm definitely obsessed with this series, The Marked. If you
that was the tattoo book.
Yeah, it's so
The Marked,
great.
yeah.
He has a book. He has another series called Hellboy out. But like, my books are very much about like snarky females that punch things really hard, and like I like me some tattoos. So like this was like very much in my wheelhouse. I've got some other stuff that I got on my my wife's dresser. I usually like finish something I love and then put it right on her dresser, and then it takes her months to read it. But yeah, those are the two that I got most recently.
Cool. Whenever I hear people saying you should simplify, keep only 30 books, I'm over here thinking, what, on my nightstand?
Right? Aster of Pan. That's what it was called.
That's cool.
It's so weird, but so good.
I like weird stuff. I mean, I read a lot of superhero stuff, sure, is to keep up with all the modern books. But most of the things I prefer reading don't involve capes whatsoever. Like Ellie's, that was something that I know that Kirk just picked up recently. I just read that. It's kind of
Sorry,
like...
I've been reading it right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so good. It is.
Was telling you about it. It's haunting, and you're probably gonna get a better read out of it reading it all the way through. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read it. It's only like 5 issues, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna put it on the list.
It's on FOC right now if you haven't ordered it yet.
Awesome. So, I know what. I'll tell you. I know one that is a DC book that I just read, which was Super Pets, because my friend Bobby drew it. So I read the Super Pets.
Oh, nice.
Comic. Which ruins the end of the movie, but like that's another story. Watch the movie before you read the comic.
If another one over at DC, if you're not reading, pick it up. It's getting towards the end of the story now. Nice House at the End of the Lake.
I read the first issue.
Yeah, that's Tiny Onion, Tinian the Fourth. And it's about these group of people at the end of the world where a former college buddy says, hey, why don't you come to this nice house in the lake? We'll spend a weekend. And that's when they realize, wait a second, we're trapped. Our cell phones don't work. Yeah, that's because the world ended and I decided to choose you guys to stay here. And now you get to live in a lap of luxury, but like all mysteries, similar to Lost, there's a bunch of little things going on that they're trying to figure out. Can we get out of here? Is there a real world at the end of the world? And it's a mind fuck. I love it. See, I like those kind of storylines. Not a single.
I'll have to think of the trade.
What was that one called? You said
Last. That's called Nice House at the End of the Lake. Tiny Onion, Tinian.
Tinian.
He's doing like some of the best stuff right now of his life. He's been around for well over 15 years or so. I remember him first starting to write Batman Eternal along with Scott Snyder. And yeah, he was a good writer, but then all of a sudden he was put on Batman and his fame just shot out the door. And he started putting book after book out. And you might have heard of Something is Killing the Children. And here he is now, just putting out things left and right. And it's all really solid material.
Are you subscribed to his Substack too?
I am not. I don't have a single Substack I'm subscribed to. I should. I probably should, but I like tangible stuff.
Yeah, same.
Kirk, did you pick up any books? I think you made a trip to the shop, didn't you? But
I did.
Oh, there you go. Rose Gray even knows what we're talking about. Tiny Onion.
Tiny Onion.
The only person I can think of that puts out as much volume of work is like Colin Bunn, Stephen King. I mean, it's just, here's a story, here's a story, here's a story. I don't know where they're pulling it from. I'm pretty sure that Oneros must have gone, you want creativity? Never-ending creativity.
Like that Calliope story.
So good. And I'm glad that they stripped out the one element that never needed to be shown, because once they cut to black and pan back, that same character, if you look real close as he's typing out his new work, there's a little spatter of blood on his cheek. And I'm glad that they didn't have to resort to that, and it made it all the stronger emotionally when it hit. So, Kirk, do you mind if I play your intro since you haven't seen it in a little while? Hopefully there's no destroyed comics.
Now, I'd like you to think of something specific of your organization, and that you will not object to having disclosed.
Yes, I have something. Do I have to close my eyes?
It doesn't matter.
All right, yes, I have something.
These are comic books, and they're soaked. Soaked. Look, man, this is all soaking wet. That makes them worth nothing. Shitola.
They dry by cells.
You don't. I'm with you. I collect comic books. You don't dry them out. They're done.
You're gonna kill Spider-Man, Plutonium, Scotland. I didn't see
that. Never destroy your comics.
I love it. I love it. So the only DC book that I picked up, I was gonna pick up another Marvel book, but I guess I forgot to add it to the pile. It was like that the origin of Thor's mom, you know, because his mom is like the Phoenix from back in the day.
Oh yeah, but as it turned out, it wasn't what we thought it was.
That's why I gotta read it.
Oh, you haven't read it. I'm not gonna spoil it.
But I did pick up Batman. Chip Zdarsky's writing this, and I fell in love with the last one he did, so I grabbed that.
Oh, I hate to do this, but a little bit of a spoiler alert on that book there. New issue of Batman has it where on the very last page we get the Batman of Zur-In-Ah.
Oh, God.
All right, spoiler alert over.
You are hilarious. So pretty much everything else is just indies, because I was just like, I'm gonna grab some new stuff to read. So I grabbed this because I just figured it was gonna be about different personalities, and I guess I was right. I like the transitions of how the personalities come out. It's awesome. And then shout out to Ace. I had to get something from Volt. I got Hard Eyes. Looks pretty interesting. The cover looks amazing. So, but I don't know what the storyline is going to be about. But we'll see.
It's already on a second print. Just solicited on
really,
along with issue 2.
Well, hopefully it'll be good. I can get issue 2. And then this looks pretty cool. The premise looks pretty cool. Like pretty much supervillains, superheroes all go to war.
And Igor Kordy is the artist on that cover, and he hasn't worked in comics in over a decade because if back in the day over at Marvel, if you ever needed a artist because, oh shit, we're going to be late, throw it to Igor Cordy. He can finish it in like a day. Wait, a full book? Yeah, probably. And he got burnt out and just left for a long period of time. That's like his first work back.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to read it. It looks great. I like the concept. It's just not only superheroes and supervillains going to war. It's just everybody's going to war.
If you like that, you probably like Rogue's Gallery too.
I'll have to check that out. This is a one shot from Source Point Press called Colo. This cover looks insane.
Yeah.
But it was like a pretty interesting read. Someone's going through some kind of hell.
Is Maria Wolf the artist on the cover? Because there is an artist named Maria Wolf, and she's doing a lot of these B covers. I guess not. Looks really awesome.
Yeah, the cover looks awesome. And there's a couple of issues out, but I grabbed this cover of Grimm. I don't know if you've read it.
I read the first 3 issues, and it's good. It's about a Grim Reaper that winds up kind of losing a soul, or her scythe, and has to go get it back because the scythe can give you a lot of power. And the main character, she's a Reaper that can't remember how she died. Everybody else can remember how she died, but why can't she? It's a mystery, and it's pretty good.
Well, maybe I'll read that one tonight, and then I'll see if because they had issue 2 and 3 at the shop, so I'll just probably go pick it up. And I'm so glad to finally jump back onto this series. I read issue 1 and I fell in love with it, and I love me some Scotty Young, but I got Twig issue number 2 with that big old eyeball.
How do you feel about him? How do you feel about him coming back for more I Hate Fairyland now?
Fuck yeah, I love it. Yes. Ace sent me the image, and I almost started crying. I'm a huge. That's how I read his I Hate Fairyland, and I was instantly sold. I have a whole wall of Scotty Young covers right over here. I instantly fell in love with his style. But then I started reading some of his writings, and it's just damn, this motherfucker could write even better than he can draw.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. So did he stop doing the Strange Academy so that he could get back to doing both the writing and the art on I Hate or Fuck Fairyland?
Maybe. I don't know, because that series ended, didn't it?
Yeah, it just ended with, I think, 17 or 18, and it's going to be coming back for a season 2. I don't know if they solicited it yet, but they haven't said whether or not he's going to be returning for it.
I thought I thought Brett Bean was going to be the artist on the new I Hate Fairyland.
I'm all aboard. Sight unseen, I'm going to be getting it. I need to grab that little meme of "shut up and take my money."
Yes.
I saw I read the first 4 or 5 pages of the new first issue, and I was like, "This is everything."
Are you serious?
Yeah, they posted a preview of it, and I was like, "This is the greatest thing." It's so good.
That is awesome. I have to find it. I'm about to hunt that down.
Oh boy!
Now see if you can defend yourself. You sweat from a baboon's balls.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I have,
but we'll get it in our hands soon enough. Well, let's see what else you got.
There's just issue number. What was it? Number 3 of Twig, and then a Scotty cover of issue number 4. That will definitely be going on the Scotty wall, and that's all I picked up today. I kept it simple.
And if you're able to, if you get back to the comic shop and you see Avengers, Eternals, X-Men, it's the issue 3 of the Judgment Day. There's a great Scotty cover, and that
really,
they're introducing a bunch of new characters. I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but out of all these characters, you know how these new books are when they don't introduce just one character but a whole plethora of them. People go, well, I don't know, so let's just hoard them all, because the comic shop that I go to, Miami Fresh Comics, they're all gone. I was going to pick up that one for you the other day. I'm like, holy shit, where did I all go? Some guy came in and took them all. I'm like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, definitely have to check
I put the link to it in the the first pages in the private chat.
Thank you. And I'm going to drop that in the chat for everybody else to take a look at here.
Well, I was going to do that first, but I realized I can't do that. So you had to do
it. I need to make you a moderator.
Russell, can I ask you a question? Like the art on your wall, are you the artist that did the art, or do
yeah,
you know
I drew all this.
I love it. I've been looking at it all the way on the back, like the monster in the ocean with the little eyes. That is amazing.
So we went to San Francisco and there was a paint night, and I don't ever do their boring landscape paint nights. I always add stuff. So,
it was like the Hawaiian painting.
This is our mascot, Melissa. This is a book that Angela Odling and I do called Lucifer Licorice.
The robot is amazing.
Other stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because I was like, I've been peeping it the whole time, and it's just like it's always.
I want that beast
this is when you can't see.
Slimer, that is clean.
Yeah, I used to bring original paintings to shows before I had too many books to bring paintings to shows. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Do you have anything else to show?
No, I showed you everything.
Oh, or you.
No, I don't have anything more to show. I think I've showed you everything. I can tell you. So Brian Haberlin's Hell Cop is on final order cutoff this week. Go and get Pat Shand has like 4 books on final order cutoff this this month. Savage Avengers. I think they're either almost at the end or at the beginning of the second arc. This is the second arc they're doing. And then Jim Zub has a bunch of books on final order cutoff. Like there's the Skull Kickers 10th anniversary super special. Yeah. Plus he's got like Unbreakable Red Sonja, some Avengers book, Thunderbolts. I don't know. A lot of my friends are doing a lot of really cool things, and those are only the 4 that I can think of right now. So I'm like, wait, who has had a bunch of books that are on final order cutoff right now? So yes, and then I'll also tell you that Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter has never been in singles. The only place to get it is in hardcover. So so yeah, we try and do like an exclusiveness. We're trying to find a publisher to come in and do singles for. It's never been available in stores. Only the first volume has ever been in like Amazon.
Did I just say something? Hi, Tyler Chintanner. Wave Blue World. What did I just say?
Yeah. I was just thinking about them today. Yeah, I mean, come on, Tyler, let's go.
They're one of our favorites here. We always
love Tyler.
Tyler, why haven't you reached out? We could do Ichabod. We can do a whole thing. It's like 20 years. Like 20 years. I got a 2-year slate for you right here.
The answer to that is yet. Always.
It's so funny because I was literally just thinking about him today.
Well, maybe we can try and arrange something because I want to see this in a lot of people's hands. I want to get those hardcovers because they present so nicely, and anything that is bound in black, that slick. It's worth it, especially knowing the interiors because I read the first issue and now I can't wait to read the rest of it because I only had about 20 minutes before showtime. So I guess I'll show a few books here that I picked up in the last week, and I'll do a share screen here where it's just.
I did get one thing
that around here.
I did get one thing that I wanted to show.
Oh, let's see that then.
I got this bad boy right here.
Actually blowing up.
Yeah, you have.
Oh.
So I usually am not a pop person, but it had like a little copy of the first Moon Knight's little solo series, and I had to get it. So it just presents really nice. So
that looks really dope.
I had to. I love me some Moon Knight, so I had to swoop that up. But go ahead, Rob. You can show your books.
No, all good. And I was even just seeing here about Kenneth Bird saying I needed to tell how much the comic books are when I go to the store. I see their collection. If it's not bad, I'm bored. I'll bag and board. Well, right behind me, I'm going to take that down. I got a lot of stuff in over the last day, and I'm still bagging and boarding. So I'm just going to show some of the keys that I picked up over the last day. And these are all from a place called Miami Fresh Comics. You can find him over on Instagram. Let me go ahead and put up his link as my dogs are barking nonstop.
Woof, woof.
Now, if you're on Instagram, if you go over there right now, hopefully you're watching on your computer or TV and you're looking at your phone and going, I'm looking at an auction right now. Oh my God, he has really good prices. Well, let's take a look at what I just got from John Freshly this week. The stack. We're going to go with this stack. Rough. Because this is not in rough shape. This is a Daredevil issue number 100. I got 2 issues.
Oh, nice.
Now I already have all the Frank Miller stuff. Now I'm going back getting all those. So the next one I picked up here is a King Spies special. Now I have issues 4 all the way through pretty much almost current. This is the Dr. Doom origin story. Next up, this is the Gorgon first appearance. First time they.
I love it. I have that issue. I love it.
So nice condition too.
Any Inhumans? Yes, give it to me more.
Now, Medusa already made her appearance long before, but we didn't know she was an Inhuman. This is the issue. They tell us there's a thing called Inhumans. What were you going to say?
Sorry, there's an ambulance going by. Hold on.
Oh, all good. There we go. All right, next book. This is the second appearance of Claw. I do not have a first appearance, but I have that 48 back there. Helpful. But I don't have a 49.50. All right, next up, issue number 69. Nothing really too big about this, but it's filling in my run. Issue number 70. And these black covers are always so hard to keep in nice condition, which is why anytime I see a black cover, I need to pick it up almost sight unseen.
Yeah.
What's it about? Who cares? It's a black cover.
I love that cover. I have that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this one isn't in the greatest. This still looks like it was well loved. Someone read this.
Got it though.
But I have it. I'm not near mint. I don't care about the condition as long as it's, intact. The spines are okay. And by that, I mean no rusty staples. Never, ever, ever. Why? Because I got a Action Comics 242 that I paid a significant amount for a long time ago. Didn't realize until I put it in Mylar that, wait a second, what is this? I go to open the book. It used to be attached to both staples. Now the bottom staple is attached.
No.
It was out of 5. Not anymore.
I have that one too. That's a great cover. That's a great Floating Heads cover.
And now I need to start working on the Dr. Doom ones. And Rose Gray, is there a Lady F show tonight? I don't know. We tried texting with Lady earlier. I hope she's okay. I think she was been making appearances on other channels trying to sell some books and raise some money. So if you see her on an auction or a claim sale,
support.
Always support. That's what we're about. We're the comic community. It's not just about showing books. It's helping people out when they need it. And
it's
when
my boy Ben Graham. I have that cover too. I love that. Any cover with Ben Graham, I'm gonna have it.
There's another one with Ben.
Nah, I don't have this one. That's great. Is that 100?
That it is.
Damn, I need to get that one. That is clean.
This wasn't even originally in my stack. John just went, oh yeah, I saw your list, and it wasn't in the stack that you had waiting for Friday, so I just stuck it in.
That's awesome. Okay. That is.
Yeah, when most people in life go, I met a girl or I met a boy. Me, I go, I met a book.
So what
That's
issue
just
is
what
that?
I do.
That's
because this one is issue 108. This is the origin of Janus, I guess it is.
Janus, is that the son of like the mole man or something?
I honestly can't remember at this point, but you do know who Annihilus is.
I have that issue. That's a great. Annihilus is one of my favorite. I want his.
Yeah, his first is right there. And you can also get a, I think it's, let me see, I think I have it pulled. No, I don't. I put it away. There's some like king size reprint, an issue 6, and that one you can get the whole story. Now, I thought I had this. I didn't. I had the second volume of this. How can you tell the difference? The second volume says, let's see here. It says 40 cents. The 20 center is the volume 1. Also, the volume 1 has the second appearance of Howard the Duck. Now, I thought that I had an issue 6. I don't, so I'm still going to need to get it. But at least I don't have to worry about this.
I have issue 6. I was just looking at it earlier. I want that one.
Yeah, I think this one was maybe $80, but
it's so worth it.
The only problem
I just want the first couple issues.
But otherwise, whew. I hope they stick him in the Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I like Tiger Shark. He's one of my favorite Submariner villains.
So because I thought that I had 6,
you got 7.
I got 7.
That's a nice cover, though. Is that like an actual like picture in the background?
Yeah, it's an actual photograph. They did this back in the late 60s, early 70s. It was a new type of pop art, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. This one here, when I look at this, I honestly think that wait a second, is this where John F. Kennedy gets shot?
I hope not.
All right. I wasn't planning originally when I was putting together my X-Men run to go before issue 94. But then a couple years ago, I wound up seeing behind me that first nice cover here of Polaris.
Ooh.
And then I just started on a tear. So yeah, I have this now.
No! Are you serious?
First Mimic.
No way.
And the last book,
awesome.
Because Dan De La Torre over when you
shout out to Dan. Sorry.
Love Dan. Dan, I would love it if he made an appearance on this show. This man knows so much about comics, and
yes, I agree.
One of his Dan's corners on Hood Rat Comics, he was talking about different characters that might appear in the Armor Wars show that is coming to Disney Plus. And one of those characters, possibly maybe
Cobalt Man. I like Cobalt Man in the Hulk series. I didn't even know he was originally from X-Men because he looked different.
Now here's something a little weird. They're going to be ending Iron Man in the next month or so, and then they're resoliciting another volume of Iron Man. But in the last issue, there's another bad guy that's leaking bits of information around to show that I'm the one that's behind it. It's like the Riddler. Don't you want to get away? No, I want to harass my arch nemesis, so that way I have something to do. No, get away with it. No, but he was leaking Cobalt shit everywhere to go. Yeah, it was me, Tony. So I'm glad that I have that. So those were all the old books that I picked up.
That's great, too.
All the new books that came out, I don't know if people have been paying attention to what I've been doing with this channel here, but every week I'm going to be putting out the new comics in an edited video. And on this edited video, you're going to see some music, and I'm going to be using trance dance music. Yeah, I know a lot of people like rap. I know a lot of people like rock. But me, I like some electronic music. So this week, our tune of the week is Emma Hewitt and Marcus Schultz, Into My Arms. If you get a chance to listen to the acoustic version, it's amazing. But I have set all of the new books to that song. So if you stick around after the conclusion of the show, you'll see that bonus content, which we will cut out at the end because we don't want to get a copyright violation. So let's go around the room. Is there anything that you're going to be appearing on? Shows, YouTube, Spotify, any upcoming appearances, conventions? Russell, you get the floor. Where can people find you?
I don't I don't know what other appearances I'm going to make. I have a PR person now that I hired for this specific thing. So I don't have to track that anymore, but it's going to be a bunch. I know I'm going to be on a bunch. I also have a podcast called Kickstart Your Book Sales, which is all about me and my business partner, Monica Leonel, talking about using Kickstarter to fund books, novels, comics, nonfiction, TTRPG games, everything like that. So I'll be on that. I also have the Kickstarter, which is $16 from going over $16,000. So, and then I will be at Long Beach Comic-Con this weekend. I'll be at 20 Books Writers Conference in November. And I will be on just oodles of shows. I'm trying to pull up my thing. I'll be on, let's see. What live streams will I be on quickly that are not? I'll be on Pat Chan's live stream this Friday. And then other ones the following week, I'm sure. Some of these, I don't know if they're live streams or taped in advance, so I can't just say when exactly they're going to be on. But rest assured, I will be all over the place, especially, like I said, on my own podcast, which has a bunch of episodes, Kickstart Your Book Sales.
Awesome. And Comics on the Mind, are you going to be making any appearances anywhere? And where can people find you?
Of course, you can find me on Instagram as Mindshift, and obviously on YouTube as Comics on the Mind. But I won't be appearing in any other shows this week. Well, actually, I will. I'm gonna. I made a promise to G-Man. Shout out to the G-Man that I would appear on his open mic tonight. So I will be on there tonight, 10 o'clock for my time. I think it's like 1 o'clock East Coast time. So I'm sorry if you ain't up that late, but if you are, come check us out. So, or just come check out G-Man in general, because his show is always great.
Yep. And hopefully I get an opportunity to jump on that myself. But otherwise, I want to thank everybody.
Come on.
I can't promise anything, but I will try to hop on to Robert the G-Man show later tonight.
I know it's late for you, for sure.
It's not even midnight Eastern time. It's 1 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to try and stay awake. I've had a lot of caffeine today, in case you haven't. Yeah, that happens when I stumble over my words, because I have about 20 sentences all going at the same time, and they're all trying to channel out into one way, and that always doesn't work out so hot. So I want to thank all the people out there watching, live viewers. As always, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Replay viewers, we love you as well. Hopefully you get a chance to check out some of these extra videos we're putting out. They're music videos. They're edited to some trance dance music, and they have some comics. We're also going to do some classic music of the week. We'll try and get that out maybe in the next week or so, and then get that from week to week. But otherwise, thank you all for joining us. And the last thing I just want to shout out is the comic book store that I go to. If you check it out right now, I know my face isn't seen, so here I am. My name is Roy. You can probably find him right about now over on Instagram under Miami Fresh Comics. His name is John Freshly. Just say, hey, Rob Worth sent me, and here you have some cool books at some good prices, and let's see what you got. He will send them out to you. And if you live in the South Florida area, just come pick them up. Otherwise, we'll be back next week. Thank you all so much for joining us. And until next time, we love our comics. We love you. And we will see you in about 1 week from today. Until next time, love you. Stay tuned for the very end, because we have
Peace out, everybody.
Something special. Good night. Love you. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see this episode again, along with a catalog of back episodes and issues, surf on over to Not Near Mint on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.